Hi, it's Pastor Andrew here at Bayside. Still got my green on. St. Patrick's, well, for you it might last for a day. For me, it lasts for most of the year, everybody. We've had an incredible weekend, and I got to talk about 2 Timothy chapter 4 with Pastor Kurt. And there's two things that Paul says to Timothy. He said, Timothy, you need to preach the word, and also you need to do the work of an evangelist. I'm going to show you a clip now, and it's all about St. Patrick and how he did those two things. He preached the word and he did the work of an evangelist, and it's going to inspire you to do the same in your world today. Hey, enjoy this.
St. Patrick wasn't Irish. He was somewhere from Britain. They believe either North Wales or Cumbria, but the Irish went over on their boats and kidnapped him, because that's what the Irish do, everybody, okay? And they kidnapped him.
Is that how you got Isabel?
Oh, that's how I got Isabel.
Okay.
And so what happened was that St. Patrick was brought back to Ireland and was enslaved. And for 6 years of his life, he was 16 years old. For 6 years of his life, he was a slave. And he kept sheep on a town, near a town called Ballymena, where I used to live and where my parents still live, on a Mount Slemish. I think we've got it up here. There it is. If you don't know where that is, it's on my T-shirt. It's just around there. Okay.
It's a bit awkward.
It's a bit awkward. Sorry about that. It's just around there. And so he kept sheep there. Now, Patrick, being born in Britain, he was born into a Christian family. He just didn't have a relationship with God. But during his years of slavery, he turned to God. And in his confessions, he says that he prayed at least 100 times every day and nearly as many times at night. He turned to God. And after 6 years, God, he believes, spoke to him and said, make haste and get ready, because there's a ship prepared to bring you home. And he would manage to escape from his slave owner and get back to Britain. He continued in his Christian faith, was reunited with his family, and started biblical studies. And during those studies, he had a vision where he believed that God was telling him to return to the land of his former captors, the Irish, and bring them the gospel. And I think this is an amazing story of how a young guy who could have got really bitter that some of the best years of his life were robbed and he was enslaved, said, I'm going to look over all of that and I'm going to return to those people that persecuted me. So he got back on a boat, came back to Ireland, and Ireland at that time, the Ireland that Patrick returned to, was a dark place spiritually. It was full of Druids and it was full of pagans. But he took a stand for God. And actually there was one morning, an Easter morning, that coincided with an Irish tradition with the Druids, which was that only one fire would be lit to mark the start of spring/summer, and only one fire was allowed to be alight at that time in the season. But Patrick went to another hill near Slane and lit a separate fire to say the gospel is in Ireland. He was summoned to the main chief, and Patrick looked at him and he said, there's a new light in Ireland. His name is Jesus. And that is how the gospel broke into Ireland. 29 years later, on his death, Patrick had seen 120,000 Irish people baptized and 300 churches planted. How epic, everybody. Do you know why? Because there was a young guy who had earthly convictions, who believed in a thing called the truth, and who went out and reached his community. Everyone look at me. Do not be deceived by Kurt and I. You do not need a headset and a platform like this and a screen in between you to be an evangelist and to preach the word. You are an incredible evangelist because you've got a great mission field. It's called your family. It's called your friends. It's called your neighborhood. It's called your workplace. And you may not have Irish blood in you. Has anyone ever done Ancestry.com? I know what you're all believing for when those results come in, and you're all hoping there'll be a wee bit of Irish in there. If there's no Irish in there, you're going, that was a waste of money. Okay. But you may not be Irish, but you can be a St. Patrick. Why? You can preach the word and you can do the work of an evangelist.